Our purpose at WE is to change the dismal statistics of our people, particularly Māori and Pacifica people. We do this through helping small and medium-sized businesses to thrive. Our businesses need our help. So many have felt the pressures of lockdown and are facing challenges that they've never faced before. Challenges that are impacting their livelihoods. That is why we're bringing you this series to share stories of the people behind our businesses, their successes, their failures, their challenges, and their triumphs.
If you are already in business, we hope you will be inspired. Perhaps someone will share one piece of gold that makes a difference in your business. If you've been thinking about starting a business, we hope that you will be motivated to start your own business venture.
We hope that by sharing these stories, we can help small businesses on the road to recovery all across New Zealand, Australia, and the Pacific.
So grab your cup of tea and whakarongo mai. Kia ora te whānau nau mai, haere mai, welcome to Kapu Tī this evening. I have another husband and wife with me tonight, and I'm really looking forward to sharing their story and having a yarn with them. So welcome, Raymond and Laura. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. And don't hide, Raymond, because I know you're trying to.
Kia ora, kia ora.
So you guys are from Run. And I know, Raymond, you came into the business to help out, just like I came into WE and helped out. So tell me, what is Run and how did Run get started?
Yeah, I guess Run is a design advertising agency, and I started it kind of on my own in 2008 while I worked full-time, started it part-time, and it kind of gradually grew from there. I'd worked in kind of boutique design studios, and Raymond was in the ad industry working for big ad agencies, and just kind of naturally progressed. He started freelancing and got him bringing into the business more and more, and yeah, just went from there. Do you want to say a bit about what we do?
Yeah, I guess to talk to Laura's point, so Laura came from the graphic design industry, and I came out of the creative advertising industry. So started my career at Cleanso and went through, the agency journey. And then, like we just said before, I just came to help, and I'm still here 12 years later. Did you want to tell them about what we actually sort of focus on?
So we do everything from kind of graphic design wise, like branding, brand strategy, kind of brochures, collateral, more and more digital stuff these days as well. And
then from an advertising point of view, advertising strategy, advertising creativity, which takes you across the whole communication spectrum to create advertising for clients and organizations. So
campaigns of all different sizes and shapes.
And like Laura said as well, just through the digital space, that's becoming more and more. I guess, the little TVs we hold in our hands now, those are the common device that we're all sort of, consuming media. So that's kind of where a lot of our sort of work sort of lives. So, it's awesome.
Cool. And Peter, who we're talking to tomorrow, he says, kia ora e korua.
Oh, kia ora, kia ora, brother, kia ora.
So you guys seem to be a little bit like a match made in heaven. You're husband and wife, you've got children, you're both in the same sort of industry, and now you're both working together. So did you guys meet in this creative industry, or is it just like random, just kind of happened?
No, like 20 years ago, was it 20? About 20 years ago we met. Pretty much straight out of school, I was in retail having kind of a year off to think about what I wanted to do. Raymond was a postie.
Yeah.
And it just kind of naturally happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I said to Laura I just wanted to be in something like computers.
Computers. Was what I wanted to do.
Was the answer when she asked me what my career goals were.
But you're not really into computers or things like that.
But I saw the boom happening, so I was thinking, I'll get onto that sort of wave.
Yeah.
Fast forward a few more years, and I went into a communications degree at AUT, and then, Laura the same with her graphic design. sort of came out of design school, and we we pretty much did fall into the industry in terms of having our own business. So yeah, a funny little journey.
Yeah.
And how do you guys find it being husband and wife and having children and working together? I mean, obviously it's still working because you're still helping out, Raymond.
I'm still here helping out.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy.
There's no work-life balance. It's all just a juggle and merges into one.
Yeah, I guess we can say that we really enjoy what we do. I guess, you know, as a career and obviously as our business, it just allows us to be, I guess, you know, creatively expressive. So we do that on a daily. I'm constantly thinking of ideas, and Laura's obviously, you know, in the design frame of mind. And then you add in 2 children, two young fellas who are growing up in a sort of environment where they will hopefully become entrepreneurial. I guess, you know, as you know, humble beginnings for myself. You know, I was quite entrepreneurial as a young fella. Sold mushrooms on the side of the road with my dad, and that was kind of a family sort of tradition. So hopefully they you know, pick up the tips and tricks and, you know, tricks of the trade of advertising and design. So
yeah. And I guess we've kind of grown the business around our kids as well. Like kind of got pretty serious when I got pregnant. You know, need to kind of support a family now, and yeah, we've kind of grown it around them. Worked from home for a bit. Just, you know, had the babies in meetings, or like, you know, literally right on the side when they're really little, sleeping, or on you sleeping, traveling with them. Everything.
We've got a fair bit of work up in the islands, so they've come up to most of our business meetings up in the islands, and they just become part of you know, life in an agency, and I think they've enjoyed it. They're 2 little, you know, happy little boys.
I don't know any different, really.
No, it's normal for them. So
it's cool though.
I totally can resonate with that. And like, so our son, he's 8. He can sell ice to Eskimos, and but they don't know any different. So it's like, people are like, you know, sometimes I feel a bit guilty. I'm like, actually, he doesn't know. And your kids have just, you know, had to spend time up in the islands, and so is mine, you know. So it's like, actually, they get to do some really cool things.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think sometimes, I mean, you know, like my kids used to, before COVID, spend a lot of time outside of school. And so, you know, I had a bit of guilt around that too. But I mean, my kid can have a conversation with people. He can sell stuff. Like, there are so many skills that our tamariki are learning through us being in business that they don't get at school. So it's
real good.
Yeah, absolutely. Osmosis. So yeah, absolutely just rubs off onto them. And like you said about your young one is, yeah, they learn all those sort of interpersonal skills and talk to adults like, you know, how we all talk to, you know, real fast and real quick, you know. So it's all those little soft skills that we love to, you know, love them having. So
totally. We go places and my kid talks to the parents, not the children.
Oh, cool.
It sounds very, very familiar.
Yeah, I was friends too, actually.
I love it. So,
that's cool.
It's so good, hey? How else has your guys' life changed since you've been in business?
I think there's a lot more sort of, you know, free time in terms of the time I mean by free is just like
it's never any free time.
There's never free time. Let me put that another way. I guess we're able to shuffle our time around to help make it fit. You know, if we're going day by day, you know, we'll take a couple of hours off during the day, and then we'll be able to go and do things with the kids, and we did that a lot. Especially during summertime, we'd head off to the park. You know, 12:30 and stay till 3 o'clock, and then we'd get back into work later on. So I guess it's the shuffling of time has been awesome for us. We've lived by our own schedule. Obviously doing the mahi and making sure we reach deadlines and all of that sort of stuff for our clients, and they appreciate that. But I think that's kind of really reflective of how we've kind of positioned ourselves with our clients as well. And I think they like that too, because they kind of realize that we're obviously executing the mahi in the right way, and real people as well. So yeah. Did you have anything to add to that?
No, that's pretty much it. I guess it was a natural progression. Like, because I started it while I was working full time, then kind of went part time, and it was kind of gradual over years, rather than just kind of stop everything and bam, it's a business. So yeah.
I mean, we may have been a little bit slower than maybe some other agencies in terms of growth or just trajectory, but I think we've done it our way, and we've spent those long months with our little our tamariki. So just making sure that they're okay first, and then we see big things in the near future and the future. So
yeah, that's really cool. And so, is there anything that held you back from going into business in the first place?
Not for Laura. I was maybe a little bit more cautious. I think I was more happier having a job.
Safer.
A little bit safer. But that's kind of strange, because I did come out, I started as a creative full-time, and then I kind of sort of transitioned over to, more contract. If you go into working for yourself, I guess, it's the same as when you're working at an agency. If a client, if an agency loses a client, you lose your job pretty much. So I guess, there was that kind of sort of aspect of it that I kind of took into account when I had to jump in the waka with Laura. But Laura's super entrepreneurial, and she started a couple of businesses before we even had our agency. So,
and I mean, we were young. When you're young, you've got nothing to lose. Why not? So, I guess, just gave it a go and see what happened.
Yeah.
I think there's something about that naivety.
Yeah.
It's like you just don't even know what can go wrong, so you're just like gung ho.
Yeah, gung ho.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
You figure it out as you go and learn pretty fast. So
I think so. I think it was also for us, being that we did start from home. I think like many businesses in New Zealand, you kind of think, oh yeah, we don't have to pay our rent or mortgage or whatever, So
eat a little bit,
or really badly, noodles,
Or the 2-minute noodles.
Absolutely. So
yeah.
Oh no. So along this journey that you've been on, have there been people who've been inspirational or that have helped you along your way? Like, who have you had sort of like in your corner?
There's been heaps of people, Like, I think, when you start out as this tiny little agency, you have to back yourself, and I think along that way, it's nice to find people who back you also. So I would say a couple of our clients that picked us, this little agency, to help their brands, and then I guess through that kind of through that sort of journey, those were the ones that were inspirational at the time. So we picked up WE Tourism, and they're an amazing client. We're still with them.
They'd kind of like champion us and really believe in us and support us, and kind of work both ways. But it just a great relationship.
Yeah, so definitely clients. Recently we contacted a mentor that kind of came out of the advertising space.
We've had various mentors along the way. So I guess that all helped. Yeah.
So it doesn't really come from one person. It's a myriad of people, and just little bits of advice from here and there.
And also our families, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Particularly, I suppose, our mums. If we had a big meeting to go to, or a pitch or something, sometimes they'd be like walking the baby in the pram outside or something. And
it's that practical support. And that practical sort of mentorship, not necessarily the words of the master of the universe or anything like that, but definitely the practical support of looking after our kids. And
couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's totally tough. Sometimes you got to close a deal or finish a job or do something, and it's just like, Mum, can you?
Yeah, it is.
I need you right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So big ups to mums, all the mums out there.
Absolutely. So are there any like little challenges that you guys have faced along the way?
Yeah, I guess starting out, you kind of, it goes back to the naivety, I guess. You don't know what you don't know, and you think, you know, I'm probably kind of good at what I do and I can do it well, and you just think clients will just kind of come to you, but that's not how it works at all. You know, you've really got to do the work and be the business owner and, you know, bring in the business and do all the other stuff rather than just the work itself. So yeah, I guess that's been hard, and two creators running a business.
That's another thing, and I've never really seen that before.
It's taken a while to kind of get the systems and I guess the account side and, you know, business running of the business stuff.
Yeah, all the operations of an agency, and I guess, sorry to cut in, but I was just going to sort of kind of talk about the aspect of not having the work behind your agency to get those clients. So we would, a lot of the time, sort of when we were in proposal sort of
starting out
scenarios, when we're starting out, proposal scenarios or pitch scenarios, we'd have to use the work that I had created or Laura had created at the different agencies that we had worked at. So I think that was kind of in our minds as well. We're like, we're doing this for sort of run, but we're using this sort of provenance to kind of get people to trust us and trust us with money to produce campaigns or branding or that sort of thing. So that was, I think, from my perspective as a creative, is getting clients to trust that we can do the mahi in the same way as the bigger agencies. So yeah, that's very one. A kind of progression and building up that work and that backing behind you. And I guess and I guess now once we've kind of got a whole lot of work behind us, and we've kind of like found our niche and are really into that. And I think we've naturally gone into that niche though. You know, I think Laura's brought up and born and raised in South Auckland. Obviously, I whakapapa Māori, and I think just even now, just ourselves, we kind of, our values align with the Māori kaupapa, and just how we operate. So we've kind of naturally kind of floated into that sort of space. And that hasn't been a challenge. So it's kind of,
it just naturally works, and how we feel comfortable, I suppose, where we feel comfortable, and I think our best work gets done there. And now we're being kind of found as the agency for that as well, which is really nice.
It's really cool.
Some people worry about niching. Like when I talk to clients about their target market, they're so scared to really define it and niche it because they think that they have to try and get everybody as a customer. So what sort of advice do you have for people who are struggling to niche? Because you've had really good success, and I'll admit, even for us, people have said, that we shouldn't niche and we shouldn't go out and say that, we're here to help Māori and Pacifica people. The pool isn't big enough, or, other people will get put off. So what are some of the advice that you guys have got for small businesses that are a bit hesitant to niche?
Yeah, I think it took a while for us to figure that out, and we were initially scared of that, and so it has taken kind of years to get to, I guess, declare our niche.
It has taken a while.
I guess it just kind of happened naturally.
And if I can explain that whole sort of being worried about sort of positioning ourselves in that niche of Māori and Pacifica, I think the worry was that we'd just be pigeonholed in that space and we wouldn't be able to sort of help other clients. And I think that was kind of one thing that we took into account. But I think if you look at the work that we've done, it's obvious that, that's kind of where we've come from, and, we can still do that. But it's just that, I guess, using our skills in the different sort of industries we're in, we are just more focusing in with, Māori and Pacifica kaupapa, because it just reflects our values a lot more. We're not saying no to working with big corporates or anything like that. It's just, I think our skill set is needed definitely in that space. So it's kind of, guess, a moral sort of judgment that we've taken to go into that space too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there's actually not many of us Māori or Pacifica people in that space, so we're just like, why not? Let's go and,
I guess adding to that, like Raymond said, there's very few Māori or Pacifica in the industry. Raymond's kind of one of a handful of creative directors in New Zealand who are Māori. So it just, it's almost like we were pushed into our niche just because we fitted. So
I guess for people who are wanting to, I'm just going to say, to answer your question, I think don't be worried about it. I think because we were worried, but then we looked into the statistics of how big that pool is, how big the pool actually is, and it's huge for Māori and Pacifica.
As I think you guys would be finding.
Same with you guys as well. We think, and it's just like, I guess. You won't know until you do it. So I think it's a good way to realise whether you need to do it or not.
And it's helped clients find us because they'll be like, what do you guys do, or how do I define you, and it helps with that.
That's right.
And I guess like you said, it doesn't mean we can't do other work. We still do other work. So
so thinking of it from your client's perspectives, whatever business you are. And if you do decide to go into a niche area, they're the ones that are looking for you. So like it's, I think it's, it's probably not something to worry about.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think also there seems to be, at the moment, it's like cool to be Māori or Pacifica at the moment. That's what I'm finding. And people want a part of it. Even non-Māori, which is awesome, and non-Pacifica people, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Absolutely good point.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that as well.
Yeah, in the last sort of 3 to 4 years, I think it's a light bulb that goes on in some of the agencies as well, because you look at the Māori economy, it's somewhere around the 60 billion mark. So people are just sort of waking up to the fact, that the corporate interest in the Māori economy is starting to build as well. We've had quite a few big network agencies kind of come and speak to us because they're wanting us to work on certain kaupapa that has that element of Māori and to a smaller extent Pacifica as well. So we are kind of getting approached by quite a few people. In that space.
And it brings in the natural diversity of New Zealand or of Tamaki Makaurau as well, where we work.
Biggest Polynesian city in the world,
that's underrepresented previously and only starting to kind of happen. So
completely, and I guess when you think about niche, you think about age as well. So there's a whole sort of industry of ageism that's going on as well. So there are specific agencies that kind of work in that niche. So
yeah, that's really cool. Really cool. It's a very cool time to be Māori and Pacifica, but I'm a bit biased because I'm Māori.
Awesome.
Okay, so those are some little challenges. Are there any big obstacles that you guys have had to overcome over the years?
I just to answer it real quickly from an advertising perspective, it definitely is if you're not from a network agency. So, if you don't come from an agency that has, above 80 people or 80 staff, I feel like it's a bit of a challenge to be getting the big work, although have worked in big agencies where they haven't had that amount of people, but because they have the big name on the door and they're attached to a network agency around the world, marketing managers don't necessarily see that. They just see the big name on the door and the provenance behind that brand. It's been around for 50, 60 years. It's come out of out of New York. That's where the big agencies sort of started. So that would be the biggest challenge, I think, is to kind of gain that trust of big corporations, government, and that sort of thing. But we're starting to see a little bit of change in terms of buyer and supplier diversity. So that's one big thing that we're sort of been involved with, which has been quite amazing.
Definitely. There's a drive from the bigger organisations to bring in that supplier diversity, which comes back to the diverse community again. Trying to represent that and be reflective of it more. Yeah,
because I guess I guess that challenge kind of also extends to the bigger places that do get Māori kaupapa, and then they bring in advisors to do the legwork at the start, and then those advisors normally just leave the fold, and then they're just left with the agency that doesn't have any lens across any Māori or Pacifica. So I guess that's another challenge as well, is to kind of sort of make organisations and government and that sort of, those organisations sort of understand that, we can take it through the whole process, right through the strategy, creativity, execution, and then obviously, keeping that relationship. So, that would be my kind of perspective.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't add anything more to that, really.
I think we see that in so many places and spaces. Like, we're the same. We're competing with the big wigs, and I'm like, we're just a little accounting firm who are owned by Māori and Pacifica. That just, we don't have to be anything else other than just ourselves. And it's I must say, it can be a little bit frustrating, especially when you've got big corporates that are run by European or mainstream European, whatever you want to call it, people. They're all in the hierarchies, but
but you can do the work and possibly even better than them, because you're so involved in it, being a small business, and we've got all that experience personally as well, like just through our journey. So
exactly.
I guess we're going to have to work out how we change the narratives and how we maybe tell our stories better, or get to change perspectives of people, of our customers.
You're doing it. You're actually doing it right here and now. What you're doing with us, that's like, amazing. So
showcasing all the great people you've had on previously.
And thank you for having us, Wendy. We really appreciate being on here with you, because this is where it starts. It's you with your platform, talking to us, smaller companies, especially Māori and Pacifica businesses. It's so amazing to be able to have a platform that you've created, because that's what I'm also starting to see as well, as a lot of, non-Māori or non-Pacifica businesses, but they're starting to talk to a lot of Māori and Pacific people, and they're kind of controlling the narrative by putting that out. So I'm really thankful for you and Ellie to put this together, and, we're so grateful to be a part of it. So thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I really appreciate you guys coming on and sharing your story, because it's all good for me to have an idea, but if our people don't come to the table and start talking about themselves and sharing their stories and being okay with being role models, and and this is quite daunting for some people. Like, there have been people who have like, I don't want to do that. I don't like talking about myself. And I'm like, you just have to talk to me. Don't worry about who might be watching. People need to hear these things, and if our tamariki, our rangatahi, they don't see us in these spaces, in these places, then how are they going to know what they can achieve? So big ups to you guys for coming on. All I got to do is ask the questions. You guys are the ones who are answering and inspiring people that are watching. So I really appreciate you guys for being on this with me tonight.
Kia ora, that's awesome.
Well, I mean, that, like I told you, half an hour goes really fast, so that's pretty much our half an hour.
Oh my God, I'm just like looking at it.
And that was just a whole lot of fun conversation.
That was really cool, man. We really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
cool.
Really always good to get.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's so many other things that we could be sharing and talking about, and so no doubt we'll have to have this conversation again, and maybe we'll go to an even deeper level. But I really appreciate, again, you both being on this corridor with me this evening. Thank you so much for your time, and I know that you even have told off your children somewhere else.
They're grandmas tonight. Good on grandma. School holidays, exactly. Very handy.
Don't you love school holidays? And it's a whole lot better than quarantine too.
Yes, definitely.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Oh no. All right, everyone. So tomorrow night I have Peter from Patu Media, who is going to be. Oh, there he is. He's just. I need to up my game now. He says. You guys have bought it. So he will be on the show tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So we're just doing Monday to. I'm going to update my thing. Monday to Thursday. Now I've decided that I'm going to have my Fridays off.
Nice. You deserve it.
Thanks. So yeah. So Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. tomorrow, we've got Peter on. And again, just want to say thank you so much, Raymond and Laura, for being on the show tonight. And yeah, awesome. Thank you for your awesome work. All right, whānau, mā te wā.
Kia ora, ka kite.